The kitchen of the Salty Spoon was a symphony of sizzles and clinks, the air thick with the aroma of roasting garlic and fresh thyme. Elena Vasquez, 34, stood at the helm, her chef's coat stained with a splash of tomato reduction, her dark hair pulled into a tight bun. As head chef and co-owner of the small restaurant in the coastal town of Havenport, she was the heartbeat of the 30-seat eatery, where locals and tourists alike came for her inventive takes on comfort food. Tonight, a Friday in early summer, the dining room was packed, the hum of conversation seeping through the swinging door, as Elena plated a dish of seared scallops with citrus risotto. Havenport was a sleepy town of 10,000, its economy buoyed by fishing boats and summer visitors seeking lobster rolls and ocean views. The Salty Spoon, tucked between a bookstore and a hardware shop, was a gem. Whitewashed walls, mismatched chairs, and a chalkboard menu that changed daily based on what Elena found at the market. She'd opened it 3 years ago with her best friend Tara, a former sommelier who ran the front of house. The restaurant was their dream, born from late-night talks over cheap wine, but it was also a gamble. With a staff of 6 and a budget tighter than a drum, every night was a high-wire act. Elena moved with precision, her knife flashing as she chopped parsley for a garnish. The kitchen was small, 2 stoves, a prep counter, a walk-in fridge, but it was hers, every inch optimized for efficiency. Her sous chef, Diego, a 25-year-old with a quick laugh, stirred a pot of lobster bisque, while Mia, the line cook, grilled pork chops, the flames licking up. "Order up," Elena called, sliding a plate to the pass for Tara's new server, Liam, a college kid who fumbled the tray but caught it with a sheepish grin. "Keep it steady, Liam," Elena said, her tone firm but kind. She didn't yell, unlike the chefs she'd trained under in Boston, but she expected focus. The Salty Spoon wasn't Michelin-starred, but Elena cooked like it was. Her dishes a love letter to Havenport's bounty and her Mexican-American roots. Tonight's specials: crab tamales with tomatillo salsa, grilled halibut with mole-inspired spice rub, were selling fast, and the pressure was on to keep up. Elena's day started at 7 a.m., hours before the restaurant opened. She'd drive to the docks, haggling with fishermen for the freshest catch, then hit the farmer's market for heirloom tomatoes and wild greens. By 9, she was in the kitchen, prepping with Diego and Mia, her hands a blur as she filleted fish, rolled dough, and tasted sauces. The Salty Spoon served lunch and dinner, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., with Elena working 12-hour shifts 6 days a week. Her salary, after splitting profits with Tara, was $50,000 a year, decent for Havenport, but barely enough for her mortgage and the student loans from culinary school. The kitchen was her domain, a dance of heat and hustle. She'd trained at the Culinary Institute of America, then cut her teeth in high-end Boston restaurants, where chefs screamed and plates shattered. Those years taught her skill, perfect beurre blanc, knife cuts precise as a surgeon's, but also resilience. Havenport was softer, but the stakes felt higher. The Salty Spoon was hers. Its success or failure, a direct reflection of her choices. Lunch was a steady stream of regulars. Fishermen grabbing clam chowder, retirees splitting salads, tourists snapping photos of her shrimp tacos. Elena worked the line, calling orders, her voice cutting through the clatter. Diego, more cilantro in the guac. Mia, ease up on the char. She tasted everything, her palate her guide, adjusting salt or acid with a pinch or a squeeze. The menu was small, 8 dishes, 3 specials, But each was crafted, a story on a plate. Dinner was the real test. The dining room filled by 6 p.m., reservations booked weeks out. Tara, with her knack for pairing wines, kept the front smooth, her laugh a counterpoint to the kitchen's intensity. Elena thrived in the rush, her focus laser sharp. But the pressure was relentless. A bad review on Yelp, a spoiled batch of mussels, a server's mistake. Any could tip the scales. The restaurant industry was brutal. Small establishments like hers had a 60% failure rate in the first 3 years, and Elena felt the clock ticking. The Salty Spoon wasn't just a kitchen, it was a community. Elena knew her regulars like family. Mrs. Harrow, a widow who came every Wednesday, loved the crab tamales, always leaving a $10 tip despite her fixed income. "You cook with your heart, Elena," she'd say, her eyes crinkling. Mr. Lopes, a retired lobsterman, swapped stories of the sea for a bowl of her bisque, his tales inspiring her next special. Tourists were trickier, demanding, sometimes entitled, but Elena won them over, her food a quiet ambassador for Havenport. Her staff was her backbone. Diego, who'd started as a dishwasher, was her right hand, his ambition to open his own taqueria fueling his work. Mia, 22 and fresh from culinary school, was green but eager. Her desserts, a lavender panna cotta, a chili chocolate tart, earning buzz. Tara was the glue, her wine knowledge and charm turning first-timers into regulars. Liam and the other server, Sophie, were young, learning, their mistakes forgiven as long as they hustled. Outside the restaurant, Elena's world was smaller. Her parents lived in California, proud but distant. Their calls full of questions about her little diner. Her ex, Ryan, a chef she'd met in Boston, had left 2 years ago. His ego, too big for Havenport. She was single now. Her social life limited to post-shift beers with Tara or walks on the beach with her rescue dog, Pico. The restaurant was her love, her life, but it left little room for anything else. One regular, Caleb, a 30-year-old carpenter, was a quiet exception. He came Thursdays, ordering the pork chop and a local IPA. His flannel shirts and shy smile, a contrast to the tourists' flash. "This place is magic, Elena," he'd say, lingering at the bar. Tara teased her about him. "He's got a crush, chef." But Elena brushed it off. Romance was a luxury she couldn't afford, not with the restaurant teetering on the edge of profit. The Salty Spoon was a dream, but also a grind. Elena's body ached, burns on her forearms, a knee that throbbed from standing, hands rough from scrubbing pots when the dishwasher broke. The hours were brutal. She hadn't taken a vacation since opening. Her rare days off spent catching up on sleep or paperwork. The budget was a constant worry. Ingredients cost $2,000 a week, payroll another $3,000, and a surprise $1,500 fridge repair last month had wiped out their cushion. A slow season could sink them, and summer's crowds would fade by September. The industry was changing too. Labor shortages meant she couldn't replace Sophie if she quit, and rising food costs, up 5% from last year, forced her to tweak the menu, swapping pricey crab for cod in some dishes. Online reviews were a double-edged sword. A 4.8-star rating on Yelp drove business, but one critic's overpriced comment stung, especially when Elena knew she charged less than city restaurants for better quality. Her biggest fear was losing the spark. Cooking was her art, but the grind dulled it. Some nights, plating the same halibut, She felt like a machine, not a chef. She'd lie awake, wondering if she'd made a mistake leaving Boston, where she could have climbed to executive chef, earning $80,000 instead of scraping by. The Bureau of Labor Statistics projected 7% growth for chefs through 2033, with median pay of $58,000. But small-town restaurants were a tougher bet, reliant on local loyalty and tourist whims. Diego saw her struggle. One slow afternoon, as they prepped for dinner, he asked, "You ever think about selling this place, Elena? Opening something bigger?" She paused, dicing onions. "Sometimes, but this is home. I'd miss Mrs. Harrow's stories, your bad jokes. Bigger's not always better." He grinned, but her words were half true. The salty spoon was her heart, but it was also her cage. And at 34, she wondered how long she could keep up. Change came unexpectedly, sparked by a local food festival. Havenport's Summer Feast was a big deal, drawing 5,000 visitors to the pier for tastings and chef demos. The Salty Spoon had a booth, and Elena spent days planning mini crab tamales, a chilled cucumber gazpacho, her chili chocolate tart. The festival was a chance to shine, to draw new customers, maybe even catch a critic's eye. The day was chaos. The booth was swamped, the sun relentless, and Liam spilled a tray of gazpacho, earning a rare snap from Elena. But the food was a hit. Customers raved. A Portland food blogger posted about the tamales, and a local paper's critic, Miss Delaney, stopped by, her notepad out. "This is exceptional," she said, tasting the tart. "You're elevating Havenport's scene." Elena's chest swelled, but the real moment came later. Caleb, helping at the booth as a favor to Tara, watched her work, his eyes steady. "You're in your element, Elena," he said, handing her a water. "This place, it's you." The words hit deep. She'd been so focused on surviving, she'd forgotten why she cooked. To create, to connect, to make people feel something. The festival wasn't just a win. It was a reminder of her purpose. Back at the restaurant, the review came. A glowing write-up in the Havenport Gazette, calling the Salty Spoon a culinary beacon. Reservation spiked, and a Portland chef offered Elena a guest spot at his restaurant, a chance to network. She said yes, her first step beyond Havenport in years. The Salty Spoon thrived on its people. Mrs. Harrow started a book club in the dining room on slow Tuesdays, her friends ordering soup and swapping novels. Mr. Lopes brought Elena a bucket of clams, a thank you for her bisque. Tourists became regulars, mailing postcards from as far as Maine. The staff grew tighter. Diego perfected a new salsa. Mia's tarts got a menu section. And Liam, steadier now, earned a raise. Elena leaned on Tara. Their friendship? A lifeline. Over wine after closing, Tara said, "You're doing it, Elle. This place is magic because of you." "It's us," Elena corrected, clinking glasses. "Couldn't do it without you." Caleb became a fixture, helping with repairs, a wobbly table, a leaky faucet, his quiet presence a comfort. One night, he stayed late, sharing a tart as Elena cleaned. "You ever think about slowing down?" he asked, his voice soft. She laughed, scrubbing a pan. "Chefs don't slow down, but maybe I could try." He smiled, and she felt a spark, not urgent, but real. Romance wasn't her priority, but Caleb was a possibility, a maybe in a life full of musts. The festival's success brought changes. Elena hired a part-time prep cook, easing her hours. She started a supper club, one night a month, where she experimented: oxtail pozole, seaweed-crusted cod. Her creativity reignited. The events sold out, adding $2,000 to monthly revenue. enough to replace the fridge and save for a rainy day. She mentored Diego, teaching him menu planning, and encouraged Mia to enter a dessert contest, which she won. The staff became her legacy, their growth as vital as her own. She took the Portland guest spot, cooking for a packed house, her tamales earning applause. A chef there offered her a job, $90,000, a big kitchen, but she declined. The Salty Spoon was home, its smallness, its strength. Elena started writing a cookbook, jotting recipes and stories in a notebook, a dream she'd shelved since culinary school. She pitched it to a local publisher who loved her voice, offering a small advance. Writing was slow, done in stolen hours, but it was hers, a new way to share her heart. One fall evening, Elena stood in the kitchen, plating a halibut special for Mrs. Harrow. The dining room buzzed, Tara pouring wine, Diego laughing with Mia, Caleb fixing a chair. The Salty Spoon was alive, its warmth a testament to her work. She wasn't rich or famous, but she was Elena, chef, creator, keeper of a small but mighty hearth. She stepped outside, the ocean air cool, the stars bright above Havenport. The restaurant was still a gamble, but it was winning, one plate at a time. She thought of her younger self, the one who'd burned out in Boston, and smiled. At 34, she'd chosen this, hard, beautiful, hers. Back inside, she grabbed her notebook, sketching a new dish, scallop ceviche with mango and chili, a nod to summer's end. The kitchen called, and Elena answered, her hands ready, her heart full.